The unresolved case of Frauke Liebs. The mysterious disappearance and tragic fate of Frauke Liebs remains one of the most unsettling unsolved cases in modern Germany. What began as a normal evening in June 2006 for the 21-year nursing student soon spiraled into a chilling sequence of events that continues to baffle investigators and the public alike, involving strange phone activity, misleading clues, and an ultimately heartbreaking discovery. Frauke's case is a stark reminder of how someone can vanish with little explanation, only to be found under cryptic and disturbing circumstances. On the night of June 20, 2006, Frauke was last seen at a local bar in watching the England vs. Sweden World Cup match. She had borrowed a friend's phone battery because hers was drained, and returned it before leaving the pub around 11 p.m. with only a small amount of money in her home located just 1.5 kilometers away. It's assumed she intended to walk back. Strangely, around 12:49 a.m. nearly 2 hours later, her housemate received a puzzling text message from her phone stating she'd be home later. What raised eyebrows was that the message originated from Neha, a town over 35 kilometers away, an area she had no known reason to be in. When Frauke failed to appear at work the following day, her mother reported her missing. What followed only deepened the mystery. Over the next few days, Frauke made 5 phone calls to her roommate, each from different industrial zones around Puck. Despite reassuring them that she'd return soon, she consistently avoided giving specific details about her whereabouts or situation. The most disturbing call occurred on June 27th, exactly 1 week after she vanished. This time, her sister was present during the call and asked if she was being held against her will. Frauke's haunting response was a faint yes, followed immediately by a sharp no. It was the last anyone ever heard from her. Months later, on October 4, 2006, a hunter stumbled upon Frauke's skeletal remains in a forest near a rural road. Her body was still clothed in the same outfit she wore the night she disappeared. However, personal items like her phone, handbag, and wristwatch were gone. Due to the condition of her remains, forensic experts couldn't determine her cause of death or how long she had been deceased. Investigators theorized that she may have been held somewhere near Neheim, possibly allowed to make phone calls as a way to mislead police or manipulate her family. Some even believe the calls from various industrial zones were part of a deliberate strategy to obscure the trail. Despite questioning over 900 individuals and briefly identifying 5 persons of interest, no one has ever been charged in connection with her case. One of the most haunting elements remains that final phone call with her sister. The conflicting yes and no suggested she was under duress, perhaps trying to signal something while being monitored. Theories about her disappearance vary. Some believe she might have gone willingly with someone she trusted before the situation took a dark turn. Others think she was abducted by a stranger who knew the area well and planned the crime meticulously. To this day, the case remains unsolved. Frauke Liebs' tragic story continues to grip those who follow true crime, and her name has become synonymous with one of Germany's most haunting and unexplained mysteries: the mysterious death of Alistair Wilson. The murder of Alistair Wilson remains one of Scotland's most perplexing unsolved crimes, leaving authorities and the public puzzled for nearly 2 decades. On the evening of November 28th, the 30-year-old banker was gunned down on the doorstep of his home in Nairn, a quiet coastal town in the Scottish Highlands. The attack was clearly targeted, yet the motive and circumstances remain clouded in mystery. That Sunday evening, Alistair was spending time at home with his wife Veronica and their 2 young sons when the doorbell rang. Veronica answered the door to find a man dressed in a dark jacket, jeans, and a baseball cap, asking specifically for Alistair. She called her husband to the door, where he was handed a small, empty blue envelope with the word Paul written on it. Confused, Alistair went inside to speak with Veronica, then returned outside only to be shot 3 times at close range. He succumbed to his injuries shortly afterward. The unusual nature of the encounter, especially the delivery of a seemingly meaningless envelope moments before the shooting, raised immediate suspicion. Alistair was a respected professional with no known ties to criminal activity, leaving police with little to go on. The envelope provided no leads, and the assailant vanished without a trace. Over the years, the investigation into Alistair's murder became one of the largest in Scottish history. Despite extensive inquiries and public appeals, the case remained cold. A major development occurred in 2020 when Alistair's son Andrew made a heartfelt plea for information, prompting investigators to release new details. One of the revelations was the type of firearm used, a rare 1930s Handle pocket pistol, an antique weapon that is highly uncommon and difficult to trace. Then, in 2022, detectives proposed that a dispute over a local planning matter may have played a role in the case. Alistair had reportedly objected to a proposal involving the construction of decking at a nearby hotel. Investigators speculated that this conflict could have escalated, possibly provoking someone connected to the issue to take drastic action. Yet, this theory has never been proven, and no arrests were made. Further developments in 2023 suggested the possibility of 2 individuals being involved. one of whom was said to have a history of drug offenses. This led to speculation that the motive may have been more complex than just a neighborhood disagreement. Still, the authorities have not named any suspects publicly, and no charges have been filed. One of the lingering questions revolves around the blue envelope. Was it a red herring, meant to distract or confuse, or was it a coded message with meaning known only to Alistair or the killer? The use of an obscure weapon and the cryptic nature of the interactions suggest premeditation and a calculated effort to avoid detection. Despite renewed efforts, the murder of Alistair Wilson remains unresolved. His family continues to seek justice, and investigators hope that new evidence, a confession, or a tip from the public might one day provide answers. Until then, this case continues to stand as one of Scotland's most baffling and emotionally devastating mysteries. The Forgotten Visionary. Conrad Haas, in his Rocketry manuscript. Conrad Haas is not a household name, yet his contributions to the field of rocketry predate modern science by centuries. An often overlooked figure in the history of aerospace, Haas was an early visionary who documented concepts such as multi-stage rockets, stabilizing fins, and liquid fuel propulsion ideas that would not be put into practical use until hundreds of years later. Born near Vienna in the early 16th century, Haas served as an artillery officer at the imperial court. His knowledge of ballistics and weaponry clearly influenced his fascination with propulsion technology. Around the mid-1500s, while stationed in what is now Cluj, Romania, he authored a manuscript that would later become known as the Sibu Manuscript. This remarkable document remained hidden in the Romanian National Archives until it was read in 1963 by a Romanian engineer, Duru. Within its pages were detailed illustrations and descriptions of rockets using multiple stages, an idea foundational to modern space. Haas proposed stacking rocket stages that would ignite in sequence, shedding weight as each stage completed its burn. This efficient system is now standard in today's launch vehicles. In addition to staging, Haas also describes stabilizing fins, the critical element in ensuring a rocket's straight and controlled flight. His understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion demonstrated an astonishing level of foresight for his era. Even more groundbreaking was his mention of liquid fuel as a potential. In Haas's time, solid gunpowder was the only known means of rocket propulsion. The fact that he envisioned using liquid substances to generate thrust shows a remarkable grasp of physics and engineering centuries ahead of his time. These ideas anticipated the work of later pioneers like Constantine C. Unfortunately, Haas's insights were largely forgotten, and his manuscript did not influence the development of rocketry as we know it. Had his work been widely recognized, it's possible that space exploration might have begun far earlier than it did. Beyond the technical brilliance of his writing, Haas also expressed a hopeful message in his manuscript. He envisioned a world where rocketry could be used for peaceful purposes, not just as tools of war. This sentiment, rare for a military engineer of his day, adds depth to his legacy. The rediscovery of the Sibu manuscript serves as a powerful reminder of how easily knowledge can be lost to history and how far ahead some minds truly are. Though Conrad Haas may not have received the recognition he deserved during his lifetime, his work is now acknowledged as an extraordinary precursor to modern aerospace technology. The Maury Island Encounter, UFOs, Debris, and Silence. The Maury Island incident is one of the earliest and most controversial UFO cases in American history, so steeped in secrecy and strange events that it continues to provoke debate nearly 80 years later. Occurring just days before the more well-known Roswell event in 1947, this bizarre episode featured unidentified flying objects, falling debris, mysterious visitors, and even the deaths of military personnel under suspicious circumstances. On June 21, 1947, Harold Dahl was patrolling the waters near Maury Island in Puget Sound, Washington, accompanied by his son, dog, and 2 crew members. What began as a routine day on the water turned into a terrifying experience. Dahl reported seeing 6 large, metallic, disc-shaped craft flying in formation above his boat. Without warning, one of the objects emitted a blast of hot, metallic fragments that rained down on the watercraft. The falling debris severely injured Dahl's son and killed their dog. Alarmed and disoriented, the group made a beeline for the nearest shore, where they sought refuge among the coastal cliffs, clear evidence of how traumatizing the event was for the seasoned crew. Shortly after, Dahl was approached by a mysterious man in black clothing, who warned him not to speak of the event. The encounter marked one of the earliest recorded instances of what would later become known as Men in Black phenomenon, shadowy figures, allegedly tied to government agencies who work to suppress UFO-related information. Despite the warning, Dahl shared his experience with his supervisor, Fred Krisman, who later investigated the site himself and claimed to find strange metallic debris still scattered in the area. Krisman even asserted that he had witnessed a flying object as well, lending further credence to Dahl's claims. Their account caught the attention of pilot Kenneth Arnold, who had recently reported his own UFO sighting in the same region. Intrigued by the potential link, Arnold launched an informal investigation, He involved Lieutenant Frank Brown and Captain William Davidson, two intelligence officers from the U.S. military, who traveled to Washington to interview the witnesses and collect debris samples. Tragically, shortly after leaving with the materials, Brown and Davidson's military transport plane crashed under mysterious circumstances, killing both men. These were the first known U.S. military fatalities connected to a UFO investigation, adding a dark twist to an already strange case. Following the crash, the FBI launched its own investigation, but eventually dismissed the entire event as a fabrication. Dahl and Chrisman reportedly recanted their story, but many suspect that pressure or fear played a role in their reversal. Skeptics believe the entire incident was a hoax, while others point to the suspicious deaths and government secrecy as signs of a deliberate cut. Over time, the Maury Island case faded into relative obscurity, eclipsed by more famous UFO events. Still, those who study UFO lore regard it as a pivotal case, one involving unexplained phenomena, government intimidation, and unexplained tragedy, whether it was a genuine extraterrestrial encounter or a deeply buried experiment. The truth behind Maury Island remains elusive and as chilling today as it was in 1947. Zhang Heng, and the ancient earthquake detector that was centuries ahead of its time. More than 2,000 years ago, during China's Han Dynasty, a brilliant mind named Zhang Heng developed a groundbreaking invention that placed him far ahead of his era. Zhang An, accomplished astronomer, engineer, mathematician, and inventor, recognized a major problem in ancient China. Earthquakes were devastating remote regions, yet due to slow communication, the imperial court often didn't find out until it was too late to help. To solve this, Zhang Heng created a revolutionary device capable of detecting earthquakes and determining their directions, unheard of in his time. His invention, now known as is considered one of the earliest known instruments for monitoring seismic activity. The seismoscope resembled a large bronze vessel, about 6 feet tall, with 8 dragon heads positioned around its surface, each facing a different direction. Beneath each dragon's mouth sat a bronze toad with its mouth open. Inside the vessel, a suspended pendulum responded to ground vibrations. When an earthquake occurred, the pendulum would trigger a mechanism that released a metal ball from the mouth of one of the dragons. The ball would drop into the mouth of the corresponding toad, creating a loud sound and indicating the direction of the tremor's origin. This mechanical system could detect distant earthquakes even when no tremors were felt in the capital. It offered a method of seismic awareness that did not rely on human observation, a remarkable achievement for the era. Although Zhang died before the first recorded use of the device, the seismoscope later proved its worth. On one occasion, it indicated an earthquake had occurred in a distant province, despite no tremors being felt locally. Weeks later, a messenger confirmed that an earthquake had indeed struck the exact region the device had pointed to. Zhang's creation and establishing its value in early disaster response. Though the original seismoscope was lost to history, modern reconstructions based on ancient texts have shown that the device worked surprisingly well. Its mechanical ingenuity and accuracy have amazed modern scientists, demonstrating Zhang's deep understanding of seismic wave propagation, something not formally developed until many centuries later. Modern seismometers, which use electronic sensors to measure and analyze earthquakes, operate on principles that mirror Zhang's invention. His work laid an early foundation for the science of seismology and showed that ancient civilizations had a far more advanced grasp of natural phenomena than they are often credited with. Zhang Heng wasn't just an inventor, he was a forward thinker who sought to use science and engineering for the benefit of society. His earthquake detector served not only as a technical marvel, but also as a tool to save lives by enabling quicker responses to disasters. Even today, Zhang's invention is a symbol of ancient innovation that still holds relevance in the study of earth sciences. The Great Pyramid's 100-foot hidden chamber, a glimpse into ancient secrets. In recent years, researchers made a groundbreaking discovery inside Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, previously unknown internal void over 100 feet long. This remarkable find, made possible through advanced scanning techniques, marks the first time a new chamber has been detected in the pyramid since the 1800s. The project, known as Scan Pyramids, began in 2015 under the leadership of Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities. Its goal was to investigate the internal structure of Egypt's ancient monuments using non-invasive technologies, like muon radiography, a method that tracks cosmic particles called muons to detect empty spaces within solid objects. This cosmic ray imaging technique revealed the large, hidden cavities situated above the Grand Gallery, a steep passageway inside the Great Pyramid. The chamber, dubbed the Big Void, shows moyen patterns similar to those of known interior spaces, suggesting it was deliberately constructed. Muons, which constantly shower Earth from cosmic rays, penetrate stone and other materials at different rates. By measuring where more muons pass through, scientists can detect void. In this case, 3 independent teams confirmed the existence of the same anomaly using different technologies, strengthening the validity of the discovery. Although the purpose of the chamber remains unknown, its sheer scale and alignment, with the Grand Gallery suggest it may have played a structural or ceremonial role. Some experts theorize that it could be a stress-relieving void meant to reduce weight on the chambers below, while others speculate it might be linked to undiscovered burial or ritual functions. Accessing the space, however, poses a significant challenge due to strict preservation laws and concerns about potential damage. Egyptian authorities have yet to grant permission for direct exploration. This has left researchers relying solely on external scanning methods to analyze the chamber. The Great Pyramid, built over 4,500 years ago for Frauke, continues to puzzle archaeologists and engineers alike. Despite extensive study, much of its internal structure remains a mystery. Discoveries like the Big Void fuel new theories about how the pyramid was constructed and what secrets it still holds. While no one knows exactly what lies within the hidden space, its discovery is a testament to how modern technology can unlock ancient mysteries without ever lifting a stone. The hope is that continued scanning and eventual exploration might reveal more about the pyramid's purpose, construction techniques, or even new burial chambers lost to time. The Great Pyramid remains one of the most iconic and enigmatic structures ever built. With every new discovery, our understanding deepens, yet so do the questions. What else could be hidden within its massive limestone blocks? The enigma of the Serapeum of Saqqara. Giant stone boxers with no clear purpose. Beneath the sands of Saqqara, Egypt, lies a subterranean complex that has baffled archaeologists and researchers since its discovery in 1850. Known as this underground necropolis is home to 24 colossal stone boxers, each weighing between 70 and 100 tons, carved with extraordinary precision and shrouded in mystery. The prevailing theory suggests that the Serapeum was built to house the remains of apis, bulls, animals considered sacred in ancient Egyptian religion. However, several factors have caused experts to question that narrative. For one, the dimensions of the sarcophagi far exceed what would be necessary to accommodate even the largest bulls. And while these animals were revered, it's puzzling why more modest burials were given to pharaohs while bulls were enshrined in enormous granite chambers. Adding to the mystery is the choice of material. Most of the boxers are made from rose granite, quarried over 800 kilometers away and some even from the harder and rarer stone known as stucco. Transporting and precisely positioning such massive stones without modern technology seems almost impossible. Yet the ancient builders managed it, with astonishing accuracies, so much so that the interior corners are off by only thousandths of an inch. When some of the sarcophagi were opened in the 19th century using gunpowder, no less they were found to be completely empty. This absence of remains, inscriptions, or offerings raises more questions. Were these boxers ever used? If not for burials, what was their purpose? Despite extensive study, no definitive explanation has emerged. Some speculate that the Serapeum may have had ceremonial or symbolic functions that have been lost to time. Others suggest it may be linked to a forgotten aspect of Egyptian science or religion. The engineering required to create and transport these massive boxers, combined with their mysterious emptiness, has led to speculation far beyond mainstream archaeology, including theories of lost ancient knowledge or even outside influence. What is clear, however, is that the builders of the Serapeum possessed an extraordinary understanding of geometry, mathematics, and precision craftsmanship. Ancient texts like the Rhind and Moscow papyri revealed that Egyptians were far more advanced in technical knowledge than once believed, which may explain their ability to construct the Serapeum with such perfection. Still, the core questions remain unanswered. Why were these massive boxes created? How were they made with such precision thousands of years ago? And if they weren't used for burials, what secrets might they be hiding? The Serapeum of Saqqara continues to be one of ancient Egypt's most perplexing sights. Its silent stone giants, standing as monuments to a purpose that may forever remain hidden. The crystal skulls, ancient relics, or modern myths, carved from quartz and other precious crystals. The so-called crystal skulls have long captured the imagination of historians, mystics, and curious minds alike. These eerie, lifelike sculptures are often linked to ancient Mesoamerican civilizations, such as the Maya, Aztec, and Olmec. However, their true origins and purpose remain the subject of ongoing debate. Among the most famous of these artifacts is the Mitchell Hedges skull, allegedly discovered in the early 20th century within the ruins of a lost Mayan city in Belize. The skull's craftsmanship is so intricate that some have claimed it could not have been made with the tools available to ancient peoples. Others believe it holds mystical powers or ancient knowledge, possibly even clues to lost civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria. Over time, more crystal skulls began to surface, 13 in total. According to legend, each was said to carry knowledge from a different world or civilization, and when brought together, they would allegedly unlock a profound truth that could elevate human consciousness and usher In an era of peace and enlightenment, crystal skull enthusiasts believe the skulls possess special properties. Because quartz is known for its piezoelectric capabilities, mechanical pressure into electrical energy, some theorists suggest that skulls could store and transmit information. Not unlike modern data storage, this idea has led to speculation that the skulls might be ancient repositories of wisdom, waiting to be activated. In modern spiritual communities, crystal skulls are often used in healing, meditation, and divination practices. People who work with them report heightened intuition, enhanced clarity, and emotional healing. Practitioners say the vibrational frequencies emitted by the skulls align with the human brain's own energy, enabling deeper insight and even telepathic communication. While mainstream science tends to classify the skulls as 19th century or early 20th century artifacts possibly crafted in Europe using modern tools, the fascination endures. The British Museum and the Smithsonian Institution both possess crystal skulls, though their authenticity and origins remain unclear. Some were donated anonymously. Others were acquired through collectors and passed off as Beyond the artifacts themselves, the legend has become part of a wider cultural phenomenon. Indigenous American lore also speaks of 13 crystal skulls, each containing vital information for humanity's survival. According to these beliefs, when the time is right, the skulls will be unlocking ancient wisdom meant to guide the world through crisis and transformation. One particularly intriguing element in these stories is the idea that the skulls emit harmonic tone sounds said to invoke tranquility, joy, and higher awareness in those who hear them, whether symbolic or literal. This theme adds to the skull's mystique. Though skeptics question their antiquity and doubt their supernatural claims, the allure of the crystal skulls remains strong. They represent a compelling blend of archaeology, spirituality, and mystery, bridging the gap between science and legend, whether relics of an ancient civilization, masterful forgeries, or spiritual tools. The crystal skulls continue to inspire wonder and speculation, reminding us that the past may still hold secrets we've yet to fully understand. A heat signature hidden in stone. The Great Pyramids, thermal mystery. In a surprising twist to our understanding of Egypt's most iconic monument, scientists have detected unusual heat patterns emanating from the Great Pyramid of Giza, specifically on its eastern side. These thermal anomalies were revealed during a multinational investigation involving architects, engineers, and archaeologists who used thermal imaging technology to scan the pyramid's massive limestone blocks. The anomaly was first spotted near the base of the pyramid, where 3 adjacent stones exhibited a significantly higher temperature than the surrounding blocks. Most of the pyramid's stones vary in temperature by mere fractions of a degree, so a 6 degrees Celsius difference was enough to raise serious questions. This discovery suggests there may be hidden features inside the ancient structure, possibly hollow spaces, cracks, or previously unknown chambers. The reason for these heat differences, experts say, could be due to internal airflow, differing materials, or architectural voids. Regardless of the cause, the findings have reignited interest in the possibility of secret rooms within the Great Pyramid. The anomaly was recorded as part of Operations, a project that ran through 2016 and employed a range of non-invasive methods, including thermal imaging, infrared scanning, and muon radiography. These cutting-edge tools allowed researchers to probe deep into the pyramid without causing damage to its structure. Egyptian authorities are cautious about any physical exploration, having tightened regulations due to centuries of looting and poorly managed digs. As a result, researchers have had to rely entirely on indirect analysis. Nevertheless, the potential implications of these findings are significant. According to officials, the heat signature seems to point toward an entrance pathway that might lead to something hidden behind the stones. Whether it's a natural cavity, a structural feature, or a sealed chamber from thousands of years ago remains unknown. But the discovery aligns with similar recent finds, such as the so-called Big Void revealed using muon scans in 2017. Experts like Egyptologist Beth Ann Judas suggest that if this anomaly corresponds to an unexplored room or passage, it could help explain how the pyramid was built, to offer insight into the religious beliefs and burial customs of the ancient Egyptians. For now, the heat anomaly remains a compelling clue, a signal from the stones themselves that there is more to the Great Pyramid than meets the eye. As scanning methods improve and international teams work together, new secrets may yet be revealed from within this ancient wonder of the world. The Forgotten Step Pyramid of Edfu, a structure without a burial chamber. Hidden in the desert sands near the town of Edfu in southern Egypt lies a little-known structure that predates the Great Pyramid of Giza by several decades. This ancient step pyramid, rising to a height of roughly 43 feet in its original form, is one of 7 similar monuments scattered across Egypt, and its true purpose remains a mystery. believed to have been built during the reign of Pharaoh Huni or his successor Sneferu around 4,600 years ago. The Edfu Pyramid is one of several provincial pyramids located far from the main royal. What sets these structures apart is that none of them contain internal chambers or tombs. Despite being referred to as pyramids, they were not intended for burials, at least not in the traditional sense. Today, the Edfu Pyramid stands at just over 16 feet. Its upper sections worn down by erosion and centuries of stone looting. Yet its base and step design are still clearly visible, measuring approximately 60 by 61 feet at the base. Its dimensions closely match those of other pyramids in the series, suggesting a shared architectural plan or symbolic purpose. During recent excavations led by archaeologist Gregory Marie, researchers uncovered what may be the key to understanding the pyramid's function: remnants of a small structure used for food offerings, carved inscriptions, and nearby burial plots. However, the graves and markings appeared to date from centuries after the pyramid was built, implying that they were later additions and not part of the original design. Interestingly, the pyramid's resemblance to the earlier step pyramid built by Pharaoh Djoser suggests it may have served a ceremonial or symbolic role. One theory is that these regional pyramids were constructed to reinforce the pharaoh's presence and divine authority in distant parts of the kingdom. Their visibility would have served as a constant reminder of the king's power, even in remote provinces. Adding to the puzzle is the fact that the pyramid was constructed from locally sourced sandstone rather than the limestone commonly used in later royal tombs. The blocks were carefully cut and placed in a stepped pattern, and the entire structure was built directly on natural rock, another indication of its planned permanence. A nearby quarry discovered in 2011, just north of the site, revealed the source of the pyramids: sandstone. Despite the site's historical importance, it remained unexcavated until the 2010s. Over the years, modern activity including burials and construction threatened to obscure or even destroy the ancient monument. The lack of an internal chamber, the absence of burial remains, and the consistency in design among all 7 provincial pyramids continue to raise questions. Were these purely symbolic? Did they serve as ritual sites? Or were they markers in a forgotten administrative or religious system? Whatever their true purpose, the step pyramids, including the one at Edfu, highlight the complexity of Egyptian architecture and the evolving role of pyramids long before the grand monuments at Giza were built. As archaeologists continue their work, these enigmatic structures may yet reveal more about the ambitions and beliefs of one of history's most advanced ancient civilizations. The Step Pyramid of Djoser, the birth of monumental architecture in ancient Egypt. Standing proudly at the Step Pyramid of Djoser represents a major turning point in architectural history. It was the first pyramid ever built in Egypt, and it laid the foundation for all that followed. Commissioned by Pharaoh Djoser during Egypt's 3rd dynasty around 2670 BC, this monumental structure was the result of a visionary collaboration with his chief architect and high priest. Unlike the smooth-sided pyramids that came later, Djoser's pyramid has a stepped appearance, consisting of 6 mastab-like layers stacked one on top of the other. It originally rose to a height of around 204 feet, making it the tallest structure of its time. The pyramid marked the first time large-scale stone construction had been attempted in Egypt, replacing traditional mud brick tombs with quarried limestone. Djoser's funerary complex wasn't just about the pyramid, it was a sprawling ceremonial site covering roughly 40 acres, larger than most cities at the time. It included courtyards, temples, shrines, and housing for priests. All of it was encircled by a massive wall, featuring 13 false doors and only one true entrance, likely designed to confuse intruders and maintain the sanctity of the space. Architecturally, Imhotep broke new ground. He replicated earlier wooden and mud brick elements in stone, preserving traditional motifs such as bundled reed columns and rolled-up reed door screens. The sophistication of the site reflected not just a leap in engineering, but also a spiritual understanding of the king's journey to the afterlife. One of the most significant discoveries within the complex is a life-size statue of Djoser, seated in a limestone structure known as the In ancient Egyptian belief, the soul needed a recognizable image to return to in the afterlife. The statue acted as a spiritual anchor, allowing Djoser's essence to find its way home. This statue is the oldest known Egyptian sculpture and a testament to the importance of continuity between life and death. The pyramid's construction also reveals a process of experimentation. At first, Imhotep began with a simple rectangular mastaba, but over time, he altered the design, switching to a square base and expanding upward into 6 steps. These changes suggest that the concept of the pyramid evolved as the project progressed, possibly reflecting both spiritual symbolism and architectural trial and error. To support the weight of the massive structure, builders angled the stones inward. This technique helped distribute the pressure and prevent collapse, showcasing an early understanding of structural engineering. The result was a stable, visually striking monument that still stands today over 4,600 years later. The Step Pyramid of Djoser wasn't just a tomb. It was a bold declaration of divine kingship. an eternal resting place, and a prototype for one of the most enduring architectural forms in human history. Djoser was so proud of this achievement that he had Imhotep's name inscribed on the monument to rare honor. That speaks to the architect's genius and the significance of what they built together. This architectural marvel marked the dawn of the Pyramid Age and remains a powerful symbol of ancient Egypt's ingenuity, spiritual beliefs, and reverence for their rulers. The secrets of pyramid design: precision, power, and purpose. The Great Pyramids of Egypt, particularly those at Giza, have stood for over 4,500 years as awe-inspiring feats of engineering. Their size and precision continue to amaze modern scholars, sparking endless debate about how these ancient structures were built and for what deeper purpose. A major factor behind the success of these monumental constructions was the ancient Egyptians' advanced understanding of mathematics and geometry. They employed a measurement system based on the cubitrafleet, the length of a forearm divided into smaller units like palms and digits. This allowed them to perform accurate calculations, essential for building massive structures with perfect alignment and symmetry. The alignment of the pyramids is another source of wonder. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, a feat likely accomplished through careful astronomical observations. By tracking the movement of celestial bodies such as the sun and stars, the Egyptians oriented their structures with remarkable accuracy, suggesting the pyramids held not just architectural but also symbolic and cosmic significance. To ensure a level foundation, ancient builders are thought to have used water or rope stretching techniques to mark straight lines and right angles, methods that allowed for consistent leveling across vast areas. Though exact construction methods remain uncertain, theories include the use of massive ramps, sledges, levers, and teams of workers operating in highly organized shifts. One often overlooked aspect of pyramid construction is the incredible logistical planning it required. Building a pyramid was not just about engineering. It involved mobilizing thousands of laborers, sourcing materials, and maintaining food, housing, and tools over years, sometimes decades. This level of coordination points to a well-developed administrative system behind the scenes. The sheer number of blocks used in the Great Pyramid is staggering. Some estimates suggest over 2.3 million limestone and granite stones, some weighing as much as 80 tons. While the exact figure remains debated, the pyramid's completion was clearly a massive national project, meant to display the power and divinity of the pharaoh. But even with modern knowledge, one mystery persists. Why were the pyramids built with such precision and complexity, especially when simpler tombs could have served the same basic function? Some scholars believe the pyramids were more than just royal burial chambers. They were also cosmic symbols designed to ensure the pharaoh's passage to the afterlife. The internal layout, with its ascending passages and celestial alignments, may have mirrored ancient beliefs about the soul's journey through the heavens. Others argue that the scale of the pyramids was intended to project eternal power, anchoring the pharaoh's legacy in both time and space. Despite centuries of study, parts of the Great Pyramid remain unexplored. Narrow shafts, hidden chambers, and unexplained voids hint at secrets still buried within its massive stone walls. Modern tools like ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging, and muon detection continue to peel back layers of mystery, offering glimpses of what might yet lie undiscovered. In the end, the pyramids are not just architectural marvels. They are time capsules from a civilization that mastered both the physical and the philosophical. They reflect the ancient Egyptians' understanding of science, spirituality, and symbolism, and they challenge us to keep questioning how much more there is to learn from the past.